In this video, we're going to primarily talk about identity theft and how you can protect yourself from this type of activity, and also try to understand how this fits again into a financial plan. Identity theft is obviously when somebody steals your personal information to gain somehow financially from that. So essentially, they're gathering your information, using that information in a variety of ways. They could go out and pose as you and try to get loans. Of course, the loans will be in your information, so the creditor will think that it's you and obviously will expect payment from you. Likewise, there are title thefts where people attempt to steal the equity in your home. And again, they talk about this, about $50 billion a year is the cost of identity theft to our economy. So the overall costs, right, really there's two, personal and financial. From my perspective, financial is very important, obviously. You build your credit, you build your investments, and then somebody steals it from you. That's obviously devastating, very expensive. You're going to spend a lot of time trying to unwind this issue. But I think especially for older people, the personal cost is far more devastating than the financial cost, right? Having issues getting jobs, feeling violated, all of these things can be far more devastating, especially to an older person, than the financial side. So what are the tactics that are used? Shoulder surfing, right? If you ever use your credit card in public and for instance, you're holding the card and reading the number maybe to somebody, if somebody looks over your shoulder, they can see that number. They can use your credit card, right? Many of you won't remember this or never knew that this even happened, but there was a time when you used a phone card for long distance calls. So you would go to something called a phone booth. If you haven't ever seen one of those before, you'd go to a phone booth and you would get an operator, and then you would identify your account number with a code. I'm just saying, this happened to me. I used this. I was physically reading the card, the number to the operator. Somebody behind me overheard it, and they took that number. So at the end of the month, I got my phone bill in the mail. My phone bill was over $8,000. Well, how is it over $8,000? Well, it's over $8,000 because that person that stole it gave it to everybody. I was getting phone calls to Russia and to African countries and to Europe and to Asia, right? Phone calls all over the world were on this account. In the end, what happened was I had to go through this bill, which was literally hundreds of pages was the bill. So I went through this bill and I had to identify all of my phone calls. And it turned out that instead of $8,000, my phone bill was $28. So I was a victim of this shoulder surfing. And in the end, it didn't cost me anything. It cost the phone company something. It didn't cost me anything, but it did take a couple of hours to go through this bill and identify all of my calls. Dumpster diving is when people go through your trash and they try to find some personal information. If you are discarding things into the trash from companies, etc., you should shred them so that they don't, so that they can't identify you and that information. Skimming is where they use some kind of an instrument to copy the magnetic strip on your card. This happens frequently in my area around convenience stores where they put some type of a of a reader in the slot where your credit card goes to get gas, and then somebody is sitting off on the side, and when you use that card, they now have your personal information. Pre-texting is when somebody from a company contacts you and they say they're from a particular business, and again they try to get your personal information. Phishing is when this happens online, and farming is when it's just to a bigger audience, if you will. So it's kind of a group email of some sort. But all of these things are just a way of getting your personal information either online or on the phone. So you should never provide personal information to anybody on the phone unless you've contacted them, right? If you've called them, then you're probably okay. Again, it's better to not provide any personal information like your birthday, your social security number, any of those things, especially those two things together, can provide ammunition for somebody to ultimately steal your identity. Certainly your mailbox, right? Your incoming and outgoing mail, right, can sometimes provide personal information. So you have to watch not just your electronic mailbox, but you also have to watch your home mailbox. So how do you protect against this? We need to shield our personal information at home, right? Make sure nothing that you have has your social security number. Take it out of your wallet, purse. It shouldn't be there, right? Make sure you document your account so you know especially what your accounts are. If you own a shredder, use it. If you don't have one, you should go out and buy one. Don't have your social security number anywhere on any document that you provide. Most companies, if they send you a document that has a place for your social security number, you will only see the last 4 digits. So, that's a little bit of security. Not tremendous, but it's a little bit of security that you can have for your social security number. Maybe you should have a lock on your mailbox at the door. Maybe you should rent a P.O. box if you're in an apartment building or something like that. You should only shop online at secured sites. I would really be leery of using my handheld phone to make purchases online. One of the things that I'm always really aware of, since I do a fair amount of traveling, is I never buy anything or do any kind of banking information in a hotel room. The Wi-Fi at the hotel is an open system, so you're at risk. Make sure you understand what delivery schedules there are, when things are typically delivered, so you can make sure you can get your products, etc., on time. Again, a variety of things. Make sure you protect your computer at home. One of the things I think that's been in the news as of late, and I just thought of this as I was looking at this, is we have these electronic assistants, if you will, in home, right? Alexa, and on my phone I have something called Bixby. And so if you utilize that service, you do have to be careful that there are things that you need to do to protect you and your family. So for security, you want to make sure you go through a private Wi-Fi, right? Your own home Wi-Fi. There are locks that you can prevent people from hacking into your system by upgrading the security on your Wi-Fi and on the instrument itself. So there are things that you should do, right? You need to protect your personal information at work as well, right? Make sure your social security number is adequately hidden on your pay stubs, on your insurance cards, etc. If it's displayed, you want to have a talk with your HR person to get it off of your that information off of the checks, off of the documents. There is identity theft insurance that you can purchase. So if you're a homeowner or a renter, all right, you can purchase this as an add-on to your insurance. So what happens if you are a victim of identity theft? You need to act very quickly. Keep a record of all the phone calls and correspondence that you have. Contact the police, the FTC, credit reporting companies, right? Contact the creditors and others who may be impacted, right? Let them know that this was not you. Somebody stole your identity. Again, the more people you let know that you have been a victim, the easier it will be to ultimately unwind some of these issues. There is a website, identitytheft.gov, that provides some information. How do you report, etc. So it's if you're having an issue or you think you have an issue, this is a great site to go to get some information about the process of fixing your credit. So what do you need? Obviously, we want to make sure that your credit standing is adequate so that you can use credit, right? So you want to follow your credit score. I suggest some form of an app that will enable you to, as many times as you want, go out and check your credit to make repairs if necessary. And of course, you have to secure your information, right? I mean, credit is very important. You need to take steps to make sure that what you have, what your information is private and is not in the hands of those who would do wrong. So I look forward to talking to you on our next video.